Welcome back, guys. It is Dr. Tom. Today we are looking all at golfer's elbow, otherwise known as medial epicondylitis. Now, this is a condition that affects the tendons of the forearm. So specifically, we are looking at two tendons here. One being the pronator teres, which achieves that motion there, so the rolling over, so the palms facing down, and then the flexicarpi radialis, which controls wrist flexion. These tendons feed up into what we call the medial epicondyle. So this is the bone of the upper arm, the humerus, where you go all the way to the bottom here, and we feel this little bony part on the outside, and that is the medial epicondyle. So in previous videos, we have looked at tennis elbow, which is the opposite side, and this is right here, the lateral epicondyle. So when we refer to medial epicondylitis, we're talking about the medial epicondyle, and itis meaning inflammation. So inflammation of the tendons attaching to the medial epicondyle. Generally, the main causes of this is repetitive and overuse injuries, especially when you're starting with someone who doesn't have the strength in the forearms. So you often see this in desk workers, carpentry, so when they're using hammers, people who are lifting heavier weights in the gym than what they can actually sort of withstand through their forearm. So we want to be really careful when we are doing these things, especially in the recovery process, as more lifting means more damage to the tendons that attach into this medial epicondyle. So we don't want to cause any more inflammation. So if you're sitting at home and you're a little confused if you have tennis or golfer's elbow, an easy test for this is to, number one, go arm straight out, pull the wrist back into extension. When you go into this stretch, if you feel pain, a pain or burning sensation going into this medial epicondyle region, it is most likely golfer's elbow. The other test we can do is to have your elbow bent on a surface, make it a light fist, let it drop into a little bit of extension off the table, and with the other hand, come in over and give it a little bit of resistance. So try and lift that wrist up against. And if it is golfer's elbow and very aggravated, you're gonna have a lot of pain, and that pain is often very sharp and can be burny. When we talk about healing times for this injury, it can vary, and it really is hard to tell because a lot of people require their hands for everyday work. If you're someone who works on the computer, you're using a certain amount of those forearm flexors each day, which is contributing to more inflammatory factors and all those things that make it angry, which create this whole pain cycle for longer than what it should. So if you're in a perfect scenario, if it's grade 1, we should be looking around 3 to 4 weeks. Grade 2 can be 6 weeks to 12 weeks, and grade 3 can be looking up to 6 months, but normally around that 3 to 4 month mark. When we break down the rehab and what we should be doing for golfer's elbow, I like to break it into different phases. So phase number 1, this is when things are extremely angry to either stretch or try and lift things. It's too painful. You're getting a lot of that burning and sharp sensation into here. We need to let it rest. Number 1, apply ice. And with the ice, I like to ensure that my patients are doing 15 minutes of ice 3 times daily as a minimum. And this is over that first 5 to 7 days. Along with this, we can apply a little bit of compression. Some patients feel that compression can relieve some of the pain. Some patients don't feel a difference. And then the one that I've had a lot of benefits with lately is a medial epicondyle. It's the same strap as the lateral epicondylitis strap, which is a strap, and I'll put in the description below and show you an image on the screen now, that wraps around the forearm, takes a little bit, puts pressure down into the forearm flexors away from the side, and takes a little bit of pressure out into where the tendons feed up into that medial epicondyle. So the brace can be a good one as well, especially if you're working on the computer during the day and there's no way getting around using those forearm flexors. So the last one with stage 1, if you've seen a medical GP and they've referred you onto anti-inflammatories, this is another alternate that can get you through this first phase a little quicker. So phase 1 has gone, it started to feel a little bit better. We can start to put a little bit more mobility through that wrist without causing too much pain. So phase 2 is the stretching phase. And I want to run through just a few stretches here that are going to really help free up the tendons going into that medial epicondyle. All right guys, so stretch number one, we can use a dining room table, whatever, a desk at home, a bed, whatever you've got close by. And what we want to do here is place the hands so the fingers are facing us. Now here we want to push the heel of the hands into the table, straighten the elbows out as much as possible. Now this should be pretty strong, and on the side that is affected, we should feel a strong pull into that medial epicondyle on the inside here, but there shouldn't be any pain. So if you go into this and there is pain and that burning's coming on straight away, we need to stop these straight away, and you're not ready for this stage. So go back to phase one. But if we are ready, what we want to do, heels pressing into the table, straightened elbows, and then to intensify this stretch, you can probably guess what we do. We're rocking back as we keep pushing that weight into the heels of the hand. And you're going to feel straight away that this is pretty solid into that common flexor side. So with these ones, we're going to do twice for 20 to 30 seconds, giving yourself approximately 15 seconds between for rest. Really focus on the breath. So breathing in through the nose. And as you breathe out through the mouth, this is where we get all the work done. So breathing out and trying to relax all those little forearm flexors, the parts down the front of the forearm that are the tightest. So use the exhale to control the release. After doing our 2 rounds of that, what we're gonna do is move the hands to the outside. So we'll do one hand at a time with this one. So instead of being straight back like that, we're going hand around to the side. And then from here, body stays the same and we're going to rock over. So this is gonna get a little bit more into, as we talked about at the start, that pronator muscle up the top here, that can affect and cause that golfer's elbow as well. So the same thing here, use your breath, everything's controlled by the exhale. Rock further away, ensure there's no pain. If there is pain, stop straight away. And remember, this is two lots of 20 to 30 seconds. Next one I want to run you through requires a very simple piece of equipment, which is a lacrosse ball. If you don't have a lacrosse ball, you can duct tape a tennis ball. It works just as good. You can use a golf ball. Golf balls are generally just a little too much often to get into. You might be a little sore the following day. So lacrosse ball, super cheap. You can get them on Amazon, pretty much anywhere. And what we're going to do here, so I don't want you getting up right into the site with a lacrosse ball, because that's going to re-aggravate things, cause inflammation, and may put us back a step or two. So we want to go just an inch or two below onto the more fleshier part. So when you flex, you feel that, all right, there's a fleshy part in here that we want to release. And if we release this, the tendons that feed up into this medial epicondyle get released. So they get more laxity through them, and that allows them to heal better instead of being so tight and those little tiny tears in them not healing properly. So ball goes on the table, forearm on the table, other hand over for a little bit of extra pressure through the area. Find a sore spot. Once we find the sore spot, we are doing 20 little micro rolls over that sore spot. So we should be able to find at least 2 or 3 sore spots all the way down, and these rolls are really small. If you need to get more pressure, you can really stand up and get your body weight over. But yeah, we are right up the top with the ball. And you might need to leave your arm around a little bit, but yeah, 20 little rolls across the area. Same thing, try and keep your arm as relaxed as possible. Don't tense it up, it's not gonna be as effective. Try and relax that arm completely. So this opposite arm's doing all the moving work for you, and this arm's almost just dead limp on the table, not doing a thing. Okay guys, and so for phase 2, another one I love for my patients is self-massage. So if you can't get to see a practitioner 2 to 3 times a week, and it does get expensive to see us, you can do some of this at home. So I like to use Physio Cream. It's a pretty natural product. It's got some basic anti-inflammatory properties in it. And with this one, very, very basic, little bit of cream. So same thing, medial epicondyle, come down a little bit onto more of the fleshy area. So from here, come down, and it's going to be pretty tender. You're going to find some spots straight away. So you're going to almost grab the whole arm, use your big strong thumb, and then find those tender spots and just work through them. So we're working like an inch at a time. And each time you find a really sore spot, we're gonna do 10 really slow strokes, putting as much pressure as you can stand, but I don't want you to feel pain. So there's a difference between it being tender and feeling pain up into the sore site. So we want it to be tender, and you want to be able to relax through it, but we don't want to feel pain. So working through 10 strokes, and then we can move around even further down the arm a little bit. And once again, find those little sore spots, 10 little strokes through. To even add more to this is a little extra. And once again, we just add a little bit of cream. Your wrist is going to be off the side of the table with this one. And we're going to use what we call a fascial blade. Now, this is a slightly more expensive one. You can get really basic plastic ones on Amazon. You can use the handle of a kitchen knife, so something that's pretty blunt. It doesn't need to be sharp at all, and it shouldn't be sharp, or you will do some damage to that forearm of yours. So all we are doing here, we're gonna start with the wrist in a little bit of flexion, get the blunt edge, and it's just gonna be working super lightly through the area as we drop the arm into extension. So you can slowly bring it up and just keep it moving with the fascial blade, and this is to break up all of that scar tissue, and as things heal, there's like, think of super glue through those tendons up here, so things don't really start to stretch out as good as they should. So the self massage, that kind of hits the deeper tissue, and then this little fascial blade hits all of that superficial tissue and really helps to break things up. So you can use that little bit of wrist extension and flexion, and we just want the layers of tissue in there sliding and gliding over each other as they should. So you'll often do this one, and then after you can even do that test again where we go into wrist extension, and you'll be like, wow, okay, there's improvements there. So that tells us that the deep tissue and the fascial blade is working as well, along with the lacrosse ball. Okay guys, that is it for phase 2. We have got one more phase, and this is probably the most important phase of all. This is strength. So we have some really basic and light exercises that we're gonna go into. Today we're using a 2-pound weight, and you honestly shouldn't go above a 5. So you wanna keep things pretty light for now. I personally like to do eccentric exercises only to begin with, and then go into add the concentric phase in. So you might not understand what I'm talking about right now. Eccentric is strengthening a muscle into a lengthened position. Concentric is strengthening it into a shortened position. So with an eccentric contraction, what we're gonna do is use the other hand to lift the weight up, have the wrist overhanging off the edge of something, and then by ourselves using the affected arm, you're slowly over 6 to 7 seconds letting that weight drop down. The other hand then comes in again, lifts it, so you're not doing the concentric phase, just the eccentric. And this will be for like the first 2 or 3 weeks of doing your strength. So we want to really learn to get that control into a lengthened position. And we are doing 2 lots of 10 reps. So control it down. And just like that. So super, super basic. And as you get better at these, after that 2 to 3 weeks, we'll add the concentric phase in. So eventually you'll be going slowly up over 3 seconds, slowly down over 3 seconds. Keep your elbow in contact with a surface, a table, a bench, whatever you've got. And same with this 2 lots of 10. If the 2-pound weight gets pretty easy, you can go up to 5, but just make sure through the release phase, if it's too heavy and you start kind of shaking and it's not a smooth motion, the weight's too heavy, so drop back down. The next one, all we need is a towel for this one. So what we are going to do here is towel squeezes. So we are going to, with the affected arm, go under and around a towel, and then we're going to try and squeeze as hard as we can with against the opposing arm. So elbows are straight here, and I'm trying to squeeze this arm down, almost like I'm riding a motorbike. So I've got my hand on the throttle on this side, and I'm squeezing, 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 squeezing. And we're holding this for 10 seconds. And after that 10 seconds, we're going to change sides. So then we can roll the towel the other way. I always like to do things both ways. And then we're rolling the other way, which is more hitting the other side. So 10 seconds on the other side, but we want to keep things even. With these ones, we're going 2 lots of 5 reps, making sure we get 10-second holds. Okay guys, and then the last one, what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the weight angled up like this, and all we're doing here, anchoring the elbow down, slowly externally rotating that forearm, and then bringing it back slowly. So if that's pretty easy, what you can do to make it a little harder is grab the bottom of the weight just like this, anchor it down again, and we're just trying to get that little pronator muscle strengthening here. So really slow. If you go down, if there's any pain, stop straight away. You're not ready for the strengthening phase yet. And just like that, same thing with the others, 2 lots of 10 reps, and trying to keep it like between that 3 and 5 seconds down and 3 to 5 seconds up. So keeping good control. If this gets pretty easy after a while, you can go up to like a 3, 4, 5 pound with this. And to make it harder, you leave more of the weight overhanging, which gets a lot more pronator in there. That is it for today. So I want you to let me know how you guys go with this over the next few weeks. Make sure you tune in for more videos. We always have good content coming through. If you want to see anything in particular, make sure you write in the comments section, and have a great week. We'll see you soon.